With Becky Lynch breaking character and a WWE source defending Bray Wyatt being fired, this is Wrestling Hub. My name is John and you're watching the Wrestling Report for October 31st. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at WrestlingHubOfficial and also follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. With the rise of Roman Reigns as the tribal chief, the Usos have been performing on another level as well. Paul Heyman recently spoke to Sports Illustrated about the current SmackDown Tag Champions, saying they are years ahead of other teams. The Usos are exactly where Roman Reigns was 2.5 years ago, and that's at the cusp of entering their prime. You have not seen the best of the Usos yet, and they are already light years ahead of everyone else on the roster and all of sports entertainment. They've weathered the storms, gone through their controversies, and taken and delivered their beatings. The Usos are not only at the top of their game, they are at the top of the entire concept of tag team wrestling. Years from now, by the time they wrap up this run, they will be recognized as not just the best tag team of all time, but as the two men that caused us to redefine the description of the type of match they present. Much like I took the term manager and progressed it and evolved it into agent, advocate, special counsel, the Usos are a transformative tag team that are so great we will need to find a different description to describe their matches. Do you know what's spookier than seeing a black cat on Halloween? It's shaving below the waist with anything other than Manscaped. Go from a bite-sized candy bar to a king-sized candy bar and join the 4 million men worldwide going to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with the code WrestlingHub20. Have you ever tried to trim down there and it turned into a Freddy Krueger film? Well, luckily Manscaped is here to save the day and make sure you're smelling fresh with their new refined body wash. Unlock your confidence with the Performance Package 4.0. Inside, you'll find the holy grail of men's grooming items. They made it easy for you to upgrade your grooming routine. It's a full moon out and the Wolverine in your pants is howling. It's time to tackle that problem with the Lawnmower 4.0. The Performance Package 4.0 also includes the Weed Whacker, a total game changer to your men's hygiene arsenal. Seal the deal with Manscaped's liquid formulations. Their Crop Preserver Ball deodorant and Crop Reviver Ball toner will make sure your pumpkins stay fresh. Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts to their Performance Package 4.0, the Manscaped Boxers and the Shed Travel Bag. Bring your comfort and boxers to another level. If you're looking like Wolverine and haven't cut your nails recently, be sure to look into the Shears 2.0 nail kits. They have a bunch of other life-changing products on their website, so be sure to check it out. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code WrestlingUp20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code WrestlingUp20 at manscaped.com. On ad-free shows, AEW announcer Tony Schiavone was asked why Cody Rhodes gets a polarizing reaction from fans and why some dislike him. As he responded, Cody has a reality show and gets his own special entrance. I understand he's getting booed, but he gets cheered a lot too. I'm in the arena so I can hear it and see it much more than you guys can. I think he got cheered as much as he got booed in Orlando. It's just the people who boo are much louder and more obnoxious. When Justin Roberts started calling him the Prince of Wrestling, that stuck in people's craw. He started winning matches. Obviously, he's an EVP, so everybody thinks he gets preferential treatment. That's not true. I mean, he lost the first 2 matches to Malachi Black, so he hasn't won all matches. He lost to Brody. It's not that he wins every match. Some people just don't like him. I happen to like him because I like his family. Cody had previously compared himself to Woody from Toy Story, as he had said before that he has no intention of turning heel in AEW. Speaking to Chris Van Vliet, AEW star Tony Nese touched on his run in WWE, revealing he nearly quit wrestling. Nothing was happening with WWE, so I was frustrated. I started talking to my wife and said this will be my last 2 to 3 years. I looked like I was going to be a personal trainer for the rest of my life. My wife said I would rather live in a cardboard box than you have to give up on your dream. That was when I decided I would be with this girl for the rest of my life, but also it sparked me. I did one more push, this time with a whole new attitude. I reached out out and got a spot as an extra in Buffalo in October. Scott Armstrong watched my trial matches and said if it was up to me, I would send you to Florida tomorrow, but it's not up to me. I said, can I tell people you said that? He said, yeah, absolutely. I hit up everyone and said that to them. That's when they emailed me back and said, could I do a tryout in January? It all just turned around from there. Speaking on Cheap Heat, Matt Riddle touched on his tag team with Randy Orton, mentioning that when he pitched RKBRO to WWE writers, it was met with laughter. I don't know if this exact thing was on the docket on the list of things to do, but it was definitely an idea I've had in the back of my head for a very long time. When I saw an opportunity to make RKBRO, because I mentioned it probably a month or so before it actually happened, I mentioned it to some of the writers, some of the boys in the back, and they all proceeded to laugh at me when I said, how cool would RKBRO be? I tried to talk to the writing team, I tried to talk to all the camera crew, I tried to talk to everybody and have fun with everybody, and I've noticed by doing that, my co-workers learn my mannerisms, they learn how I talk, my dialect, I guess, and they can do things easier for me or better for me. I think that's really it. RK-Bro, I brought it up, wishful thinking. It got kind of laughed at. It kind of got laughed at, and I was like, oh, that'll never happen. And then a couple weeks later, Randy didn't have an opponent. I didn't have an opponent, and we made it happen. And since we worked together that first time, we've been inseparable since. With them being Raw Tag Team Champions, it seems that Matt Riddle and Randy Orton are the ones laughing now. When he used to manage Jack Swagger in WWE, Zeb Coulter would often cut promos that were anti-immigration. WWE Creative once asked him to mention affirmative action during a promo exchange with the primetime players. Speaking on Smack Talk, Coulter revealed he went to Triple H to have that line removed. Zeb Coulter was supposed to be the right-wing radical, but the way I was doing my interviews, it made sense, and a lot of people were agreeing with me. They wanted me to go out one time and I was talking to Titus and Darren Young. WWE management wanted me to say what I got against them is affirmative action, and I went, guys, I don't want to say that. They said, oh yeah, that's what they want you to say. I asked why. I said, I guarantee you, when I go out there and I say that, now I'm racializing. I'm just making Zeb Coulter a straight out racist. They said, well, do this. And I then went to Triple H and said, hey man, you're gonna kill this character. And he said this. Okay, say it. If they don't respond, then take it out. Now that he is no longer under a WWE non-compete clause, Bray Wyatt is free to sign with another promotion. Ringside News recently spoke to a tenured, well-placed source in WWE about Wyatt being fired, where it was said not being an apologist or a WWE defender, just telling you like it is. If you were running a business and Wyndham was on your payroll, you'd release him too. Between his backstage antics and the way he handled himself when making millions and millions while medically flagged, he really deserved to be released. Wyatt did recently reject Impact Wrestling's deal to come in for them, as it seems more than likely that he will join AEW. In a quick news update on Ask Tony Live, Tony Schiavone noted that AEW will have a streaming service available in the future. Yes, I do. I think we're going to see a streaming service. This is my thought. I don't know anything for sure, just by talking to people. I think there's going to be a streaming service by the end of 2022. After being in WWE for 7 years, Jox Moxley finds himself in AEW, currently competing in the World Title Eliminator Tournament. Speaking about being handed scripts for his promos in WWE, he said on Wrestling Observer Radio, "At this time, I didn't know there were scripts. I would have not reacted very good. I would have reacted poorly, to say the least, to being handed a script. And then I would have been deemed hard to work with, and a bad attitude and yada yada. It would have all just probably gone to shit." During that same interview, Moxley touched on his scrapped feud with Mick Foley, stating he was glad it never happened. In retrospect, it's actually better that me and Foley just remain a total dream match feud. If 90s Mick Foley and current or maybe a decade ago version of me, if you do a feud with Mick Foley, for sure that would be the shit. That's some dream match. But at that exact time, what would have actually happened was I would have come to the building and I would have had it all in my head exactly what I wanted to say, and I would have had the promo in my head and the angle in my head, and I would have had it all ready. It would have been very cemented in my head, and then they would have handed me a script. While she has returned to WWE, Becky Lynch is no longer a lovable fan favorite as she has come back to programming as a heel. Despite her maintaining this persona during events, she could not win interacting with a fan that she had previously met years prior, which was something Becky remembered. Here's the clip.
Hello. How are you doing, gorgeous? Oh, nice to see you. You having a good day so far? Yeah? Oh my God! That's you! Ah, God! Bring it in! So good to see you! How are you doing? You good? You're looking great. Do you want me to sign one of these for you?
Former NXT star Bronson Reed, once again going by Jonah Rock, has been receiving interest from New Japan Pro Wrestling, as it was reported Fightful has learned that Bronson Reed, who's going by his previous moniker of Jonah Rock, has some major interest from multiple top wrestling companies. Sources within the company have indicated that New Japan Pro Wrestling has made a big play to gain Rock's services. He was released by NXT earlier this year after being crowned North American Champion, and JPW announced recently that they'd also landed Buddy Murphy. In WCW, Rey Mysterio would change up his look after being unmasked. When the promotion was bought out by WWE, Vince McMahon had a request when Rey was first signing. As Rey told Bleacher Report, it was actually WWE who brought that up, or in this case, Vince McMahon. I was doing my training a week prior to my debut and I was in OVW. I forgot who approached me at the time, but they said the company wants to know what type of ring attire you're going to use for next week. I said what I've been using. I was using the Scott Steiner Big Papa Pump chain around the head, like a gladiator chain, and a vest that went along with it, baggy pants. They were like, "Where's the mask?" I said, "I haven't been wrestling with the mask." No, Vince wants to see you with the mask. I was like, "Oh, okay. Thank God you told me now. Now I have to have an outfit made with the mask." That's when I changed my whole gear. Back in WCW, I was using the old school tights, where they stuck to my leg. When I started with WWE, I started wearing the baggy pants, which were very similar to what I was using prior to WWE when I was unmasked, and I added the mask to it. It became historical at that point because that's where Rey Mysterio really kicked off and put on the map in WWE. And this was your pro wrestling news update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.